It is 5:03. We'll have roll call.
Geraldine Bezekas,
Andrea Wood,
Don Hayes,
Sam Grant,
Lynn Pinkerton. Okay, do we have any additions or deletions?
just a question about last week.
Yeah,
The Gary Shepherd sent a request for funding. Was that resolved?
yes.
I figured so, but I got in late, like way late, and I didn't even get the notice. The notice was got here while I was still in below Lancaster. So I just wanted to confirm that everything was happy there. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, anything else? On to mail. I did receive one mail, and it was a application to join the
we lost you, Lynn.
Andrea, did you add the minutes? Because I think last week we moved them forward.
and you can move them forward again.
Okay.
One of the things that's holding it up a little bit is I've got to run down for the only meeting that we had a quorum of was with the selectmen, was the first meeting, April 6th. And I'm going to let their minutes stand for our minutes of that meeting because they did the bulk of the presenting and we said very little. We just listened.
Okay. So then all we need is the 15th.
And the 15th is the 15th of the selectmen's with meetings with the selectmen.
No,
No,
that
that was canceled. That one, the 15th, we didn't get on either.
so then I have in my notes March 23rd and the 15th because it was the 8th. The 8th we didn't get on.
I thought we didn't get on the 15th. I have it down that we didn't get on the 15th either.
yeah, I think the 15th I was out of town. And I may not, because of that, there might not have been a quorum.
Okay. So we'll move the minutes to next week.
And I promise I will have them for you. You didn't, Lynn, you were cut. Oh, you're cut off again.
No, I'm here.
Oh, good. You weren't moving. You didn't, we didn't get the mail that you talked about. You got into it and then it froze and you said, we have an application from, and then you were gone. So you
Oh,
might want to finish that.
okay. We got an application from Sue Lizio to join the finance committee. But right now we're full.
Good.
I have not seen Steve resignation yet, so
I don't think Steve is probably going to resign. I think he's going to probably just ask not to be reappointed after town meeting.
oh, okay.
But we do, is Jean still a member?
Yes.
But after so long and you haven't been to a meeting, are you still a member?
Well, he had a problem with COVID, so I guess we should bring that up.
We have to take an action for him not to be on the committee anymore, if that's what you want. I'll look up the parameters of that, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be too very much longer before we can have regular meetings, and then it'll be nice to have Gene back.
All right, so make a note that Andrea is going to check on what the rules are for letting somebody, go.
Or come on,
What?
Oh, come on.
or to come on.
Oh, yeah. I know, I did know the rule was if the person that left is in the middle of their term, then we can appoint somebody. But if it's at the end of their term, then John Barrett has to.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But no, the way it works is that no matter, say Steve left, and
Yeah.
today we appointed today Mr. Barrett appointed somebody to the committee. I'm sorry, not Mr. Barrett. We took a stand and appointed someone to the committee. After town meeting, it still would be over and they'd have to be sworn in again and be
Correct.
on it. Even though anytime during the year, we do, the people, when it comes to being sworn back in after town meeting, that's solely on him. And if there's a vacancy, then it comes on to him, to John Barrett, to appoint. But during the year, if someone resigns during the year, even if it's the day before town meeting, we can appoint, but they still, they don't serve for a very long time, a day.
Yeah.
And
How long was that? How long?
sorry,
Go ahead.
I didn't hear what.
How much longer does Steve serve?
He had 2 more years.
Oh, he had 2 more years. Oh, he just got appointed last year.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, and apparently, Jerry Lynn, from what he said, he's bought a lovely new home in Ashby, and he's only leaving because he's moving. He's not leaving because he's lost interest.
Right, and he's gonna
No, I
be a shame to
understand.
lose him.
Right.
What did you say?
But we're still gonna lose him because he's moving though.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
There are a lot of committees in the government that you don't have to be a citizen to be on. But the FinCom is one that in our forming, it states specifically that you have to be a taxpayer, a citizen of the town to be on the finance committee.
Right. Okay.
All right. So moving on to meeting business. 2.1, discuss, review any changes to the budget or the articles for the special and annual town meeting. Now, I know the last time we talked with Dawn, Jim was going to send you the spreadsheet.
Yeah, he did.
So
And
were you able to do that?
yes, so I should be sharing spreadsheet, and so on the day he forwarded and on the top it says FY22 really final. And I made a copy of it because I was going to modify it. So just in case there's any questions, I can go back to exactly what he had sent.
Yeah,
So I had gone through one of the things I do to get and check uniqueness between the two files is I put information together. So I take the Board of Selectmen and run it to every row. And then we take the account and the account name, looking for it to be unique. And then I do the same from the version that we did, which was version 20. And when I did that, I bring in the value, and so we can see that there's no, on a line where there's no difference. I have pretty much a compare line that says it's the same as what we had approved.
okay, because when I was looking at it.
Yep.
I was somewhat confused because I thought it's gonna be color coded.
Okay. Yep. Jim had been color coding it up until this point.
Okay.
And it wasn't on this version. So I did my little piece about trying to find the differences.
Are people seeing the share?
No,
Oh, okay.
No,
Sorry.
no.
Let me try it again. Thank you.
Here we go.
So,
there we go.
okay. Okay. Sorry. It's kind of like, so, what I was talking about is, because I modified it, like I say, the name is a little different. I just threw my initials on the end. So in column C, I fill in all of the rows to say Board of Selectmen through their whole budget. And then I put information together that takes Board of Selectmen, the account number, and the account description together. And then when I do that, I match it. I do the same thing. I did the same thing in version 20. And so we have a line, and when I have a match of that unique combination of information, I bring back the information from our version 20 that we had approved, and put it side by side with with what is now the final. And then I do a compare to say whether it's the same as what we had approved or whether it's different. And then I just did the calculation to identify what the difference is.
Okay.
And so somewhat quickly we can look at when we have differences. Now, when we have this pound NA, what it's done is I didn't find a match. So because I didn't find a match, I went back in to try to find, and I've now identified what it is. So this is a new, this would be a new line for that line. So if I go back and look at the whole piece of it, it's going to be wage settlements. So we had a new line at 1875. There was no line that matched it. So if I put a dash in here,
Okay, so
Yeah.
that line there, I'll have to ask Jim.
Yeah.
Is that the back wages we're talking about for the 2 years?
Oh, no.
No, I had, when I come down to police chief and fire chief, what I found was there was no difference in their salary in there. So I had written a question further down that I wondered if this wage settlement was to do with raises for police chief and fire chief.
And to that point, we touched on this briefly last week, that there were a couple of new lines added.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. So what the board voted on was taking the maximum exposure potential for my contract, the police chief's contract, and the fire chief's contract, and budgeted it.
Mhm.
Legally, they were advised that they had to have that budgeted. And ultimately, what gets settled out is expected to be far less than that. But from a budget perspective, it needed to be there. So that's why that line was added.
Mhm.
And then the next one, similarly, Don, temporary
Yep.
help, you can find a match because that's also new.
Right. Yep.
We spoke about that briefly last week. That's,
Mhm.
we expect that there's going to be a vacancy in the selectman's office. One of us isn't going to be here for a period of time.
Mhm.
They were looking to bring on some temporary help to make certain that the cogs and the wheels continue to spin.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah.
That you were gonna get help. I just,
Mhm.
for some reason, I don't remember the wage settlement.
Right. And again, we were looking at yeah, that was the thing. We were looking at version 20. And so it was probably mentioned, but we didn't have a line in front of us that we could review.
Mhm.
And
I think also when we reviewed it before, when we talked about it as contracts. And I had thought that instead of appearing here, that this would appear in the budgets of those people.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a decision made by the board when putting this together, Andrea, that they needed to just show that it was actively budgeted.
Oh,
cover.
that's just fine. I'm not disagreeing with it.
Yeah.
I was just expressing what I
Yeah.
had expected is all.
There versus the other place, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Will it also show up in the other place? Or not?
What would eventually happen is if a raise were negotiated,
Right,
they would be paid from their salary line, and then whatever the percentage is that they've got in the raise would be coded to this line.
okay. All
I'm
right.
not going to use the bucket word, but it's kind of like a mini bucket.
No, I know.
I hate to ask this,
Okay.
but isn't that a little more complicated than it needs to be?
It may be,
Okay, thank
but
you.
Mhm.
but it is where we are.
Yeah, well, it's up to you. I don't have to cope with that, so, but
Yeah.
it seems needlessly complicated.
I mean,
I
whether,
think-
whether it was there or broken out into their respective lines, it doesn't change the bottom line
Right.
from a finance perspective.
Right, but I think my question was sort of gets more into next year when we're starting to look at FY '23, in
Yep.
that this line is going to get taken and split probably into other budgets. So it shifts at that point.
Yeah, it will. will.
Keeping tabs on it just gets a little.
Yep. Well, and conceivably at a special town meeting,
Mhm.
that adjustment could be made once
Yeah.
everybody is finalized and the dust has settled. And that would provide better clarity for next year going forward in case we're all struck by lightning and no one remembers.
Yeah.
You can only pray.
Oh,
Thanks, Sam.
I think he was talking about us.
Yep. So.
Now, oh.
Yep.
that's-
No, that's okay. It's kind of like, so what I did is I deleted the formula error, and it calculates that we had no value that we looked at, and now we have the total difference in column U, so that we can see how we're building the list of the differences. And then the last little piece that I have here, I didn't have a match because it says wages webmaster. And when we look at it, it's in the version we did, sorry, it's kind of like that it was webmaster stipend. So we have a little description difference between the two. So if I take this version and go change it in my original version that we had reviewed, version 20. now they should match. And when I come back to version 20, come on. You're not gonna work for me. Because we didn't have an account assigned here this time.
Right. Until it's real, the accountant won't assign a number.
Okay,
So that's the difference it's seeing.
That's the same with the temporary help too, right?
Correct.
right,
Bill.
yeah.
Hire somebody.
So if I take it out, we had the webmaster in, but it was 0 in version 20. So when we start talking about the difference here, this would be the total difference. Which is 56,417. Do this properly. I don't know if you can see down in the bottom of the screen. Let me see if I can. When I highlight two cells together, down on the bottom it says sum is 236,446. Can we see that? Or do we
Yep.
want to do a
Yep.
calculation? Which the 236,446 gets us into that. And I'm just gonna. Sorry, just let's see, add a number. Okay. So the difference is we don't, because it's rounded to dollars, we don't see the dollar difference. So the total actual is 236,445.50 versus the 236,445.07. So that's we're seeing a difference because we're taking the decimal places and hiding them. So that's all. It's kind of, so in effect, it's the same price. So we can see that with that, we can see the differences between the two budgets, and we see at this point, it's 6,000 for the webmaster, the temporary help at 24,900, the wage settlements at 18,750. Auto allowance is up. We had nothing in for auto allowance. It's now 6,000. There's been a small adjustment down on the longevity, and the executive assistant has increased by the 803.
Don, I'm surprised
Um,
that auto allowance wasn't in B20. It should have been.
The version of B20 I had is here, and it was showing blank.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a staple for 4 or more years.
Yeah,
the 18,750, that represents how many people?
The worst case scenario for 3 people, one of whom we already know is 0, which is me. So
Right.
that comes out of it. And then the other 2, the point I was making earlier, Geraldine, is that it's expected that that's not all going to be spent, but the board was advised
Okay.
to budget it.
Okay.
So if we go down to the police or the fire
Mhm.
and their raise is included in
Okay,
there,
so
correct?
if we look at police and fire,
What
Yeah.
number are they? 314? On the side, Don, what number are they?
it's, okay, so
316?
315.
315.
315, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
And so, again, you can see I had made the note about the piece. So when we look at what is called final, it's the same as what we had seen in the version 22 that we had approved.
Okay, and so his raise is gonna come out of the 18, correct?
Correct.
All right, now I got it.
Yeah.
I'm a
And the
busy-
same for the fire chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you don't use it, it goes back into, I want to say,
Free cash. Free cash.
yeah.
Three cats.
All right. And Jim, you had said that both their contracts had been approved?
Nope, nope. The police chiefs has, the fire chiefs has not. Not yet.
Oh, that's right. Tuesday night, that's right. You went in. Okay. All right, Dawn, where's the,
Okay.
going
So,
at the top? Where's
so
the
yeah,
next-
it's kind of like, so the amount of the difference, as I said, is highlighted here, where we see the webmaster, the temporary help, the wage settlements. The auto was different, but again, Jim thinks it was there. I suppose there's a potential I hit a space bar somewhere along the line in the edit and deleted it. And so, and then the final amount for the Collins that has been, and the raise for that has been put in. So this is the total of the differences on the personnel section in the Board of Selectmen.
Now, do we have to reapprove these or are we just,
When we, yeah, I guess that's a question best posed to maybe Andrea, because we had approved based on what we had seen and said we approve it based on as presented in the version 20 that we had reviewed. Now we've got the changes, so maybe it makes sense to.
Tim?
It's really your call, Madam Chair. I think, if it's a substantial difference, which I think this budget is,
Yeah,
suggest revote it, whether you support it or not. If they're minor differences, and I don't know what's further down the list on,
Yeah,
if they're minor things back and forth that are, based on, the 2% versus the 3% that the board put in, I mean, then, maybe you just do a blanket on those.
right. Yeah, I think we will find there's some smaller amounts later on, further down on it.
And Don, I did just pull up version 20 and the 6 is sitting there.
Okay, and then somewhere in the edit, I must have scraped across my space bar when I was going over that cell. So if I put it in
So
there,
the difference in that line, so the difference in those two bottom lines is 51,
this is just,
is it 51,000?
let's see. I put in the 6,000, so
You put it in the webmaster though, I think.
But it's budget though.
I did.
Instead of the auto allow.
Thank you. It's kinda,
It should matter, I guess.
well,
It
Bottom
will
line.
show a difference, right?
sorry. I got something in there I gotta get rid of.
This is how I felt typing the other night. meeting.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
you wipe out the whole thing again. Okay, so now we reset it. So we have this. I had done the total, so maybe I'll just highlight the lines that are different. No. So my calculation, we had 0, it should be 6,000 here. Because the auto allowance is the same.
Right.
Okay, I'm back to where we should be. So the total difference is 50,000 for 17. And that total has to change. So because that's here, sorry, I gotta go back here. Add the work.
Auto.
Yeah, the auto. Thank you.
So that's a significant amount of money.
186. Yeah. So when we look at it, the 186, and then this total is these lines, which is 50,417. So I take 6,000 off. So the different this budget, the personnel lines is up by 50,000 on the
Which
board of
is the
selectmen one.
Lines, the webmaster, the temporary help, and the wages.
And then there was a little bit of adjustment down below. And again, I didn't find the match because this had said in version 20 that it said human resources consultant. Now it just says human resources.
Like Collins.
No. That was when the board was going to try to hire a human
Yep.
resource consultant a couple of years ago.
So if I go back and pull out the consultant in version 20, see if I just human resources. Yeah. That's really I get into a little trouble with the exact matching. Oh, and again, a budget line.
No budget number.
And so nothing there too, so I should have matched. But it could be a space in there. It's there was a dash.
Yep.
So now
Same.
same. Yep. So that's all. I didn't want to make any changes since I had sent it out. So I tried to identify what it is to make it a little easier as we go through.
Yeah.
And so there's been an increase. We looked at $10,000 and approved $10,000 on the contractual, the training line, and they've taken out 3,000 on the professional services, 7,500. So they've taken out a total of 10,500 on that part of the line. So the total difference on the whole budget is 39,917. If I have this.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, I'm at a meeting.
Just highlight the lines.
It's in the kitchen. It's in-
Okay. Okay. So this is the amount we had from from version 20 that we had approved. So the total on the budget is just under 40K, because they've dropped this 10,500 on the expense lines too, on these two lines. So we had a 50,000 increase in personnel and wages and a drop of 10.5. Yeah. So again, the difference on the total budget is the 39,917. Any questions from that? I know I went kind of
I'm here.
quickly.
No, I got that.
Madam Chair, you gonna revote that because it's a big number?
Yes. So I need a
Dollar
motion.
we have to.
I move to accept the select BOS budget with the increases.
It was 39,917, right?
The total difference was 39,917, yes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Geraldine, yes.
Andrea Wood, yes.
Don
Sam
Hayes-
Grant, yes.
Don Hayes, aye.
Lynn Pinkerton, yes?
Okay.
Okay. So next little budget, FinCom is no changes
Okay.
between the two.
Well, we did give some money away, but
Would that be
it's not-
FY '21 budget, not '22, or is that for '22?
Correct.
Yep.
You're correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Next.
Okay. Accounting. Let's see if we can squeeze columns a little bit together. Okay, so here, the difference on the whole budget, the total accounting budget is different by 1419, which is the support staff increase to match the Collins Center, I would say the final number.
And it's dropped, right?
Sorry, yep, the parens will tell me it dropped, so it dropped from the 11.5 to the 10,101. So, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So a small amount and it's down to, I don't know. It's not a large amount, just continue on.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is,
Excuse me, Don?
Yep.
I'd like to ask Jim something.
Yep.
I thought the selectmen had taken a stand that everybody was going to get a raise. And this person now just, the help in the accountant's office just took a decrease. How does that work?
Is that a new person?
No, I think that's a reflection in hours. I think there had been a request in for additional hours that didn't make the final cut.
Oh, all right. Well, that makes sense then. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
okay, so in the assessors, we have three lines.
Went up approximately 6,000.
6,566. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
And those are Collins Center increase for the unit track that
increments and the longevity.
lunge.
Okay,
Yep.
going down.
Okay. Expenses has not changed, so the total difference on the assessor's budget is all the labor
Right.
prices. Okay,
Well,
sorry.
the difference is because of Collins, so.
Yeah.
We knew that was coming,
Okay,
so. Moving
Okay.
on.
then there were a few lines under treasurer that had no values in either spreadsheet. And so the treasurer collector starts here. And the one line of difference for Collins is the increase of 4,173
That's for the 2 support staff people in the office.
operating staff. Sorry. Yep.
Yep, it has Collins on the end,
Yep.
so.
And we have Collins on the line.
Yep.
The rest of it is no change to the rest of the treasurer's lines,
All right.
just the labor.
Nope.
Legal, no change.
All right.
Management info, no change on the total. So all of them had said the same.
Mhm.
Town clerk. Again, the 2 changes for the total of the 2958 equals down here, and it's all Collins, all labor. And if we go to the bottom line for town clerk, 2958 is the labor, so it's only increased and different by the labor and the Collins. We are good with town clerk.
Yep.
Okay, now the elections. Town clerk elections, no change at all. The registrars, no change. Streets list, no change. Conservation Commission. Okay, so this is the pennies thing again. And the difference is 20 cents between the two. That's so because we're rounding, it's showing a difference just because there's 20 cents difference between the 2 columns. So I don't think it's anything. And again, when we get down to the bottom, if we bring them in, it looks like $1 difference. It's the rounding factor. 40 cents rounds down, 60 cents rounds up. So it makes it look like there's a difference.
Yeah.
So really no difference there, but I wanted to explain why the line says different.
Okay.
MRPC, the dues went up in the final amount by $80. Small amount, we all good with the MRPC dues?
Yep.
Okay. Planning board personnel. Again, the support staff, Collins Center increase of 1268. And if we look at the total on the planning board, increase is 1268. So all of the increase in planning board is the Collins Center wages.
Is that for one person?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little hike, but I guess, you know,
Yeah.
I know what it is, so.
Mm,
Okay.
okay, we move on to zoning board.
Wait a minute, Dawn.
Oh, yep, okay. That's,
You got 34 to 33.
so the difference is on the total planning board, the difference is the 1268, which is on the one line for the wages for support staff.
Mhm.
Okay, I was thinking of something else.
Okay,
Go ahead.
okay, no, it spreadsheets and looking at them online and moving, it's kind of like all questions are good. And I'm only driving, so please,
Mhm.
questions make me stop and ask. So on the zoning board, again, Collins Center, the difference between what we reviewed and what's in the final is the $211
Mm-hmm.
for in all Collins Center. Sorry, it's kind of goes off screen. If we all set with zoning board,
Yep.
okay. Land use administrator. Again, these when they have the zero in here is all the rounding pieces that we're looking at. So so there's no difference between the two, and no differences. And again, the reason for the difference is if I blow it out, it gets to be the pocket change.
Yeah.
As to why it's different.
Okay.
So facilities management. So this is kind of a big one. So we'll do the personnel. So we have the maintenance coordinator, Collins, is increasing. And temporary help, non-union, is decreasing by the 5,467. So the net on the two it's dropping by 3,115.
Mm.
So we lost somebody there in facilities?
No, it was up because of COVID.
Uh,
It's not as aggressive any longer.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna scroll to the, okay. Okay, so again, there's also a $10,000 drop in professional services. And I think it's a move, sorry. And it's kind of like it moved to communications,
Correct.
sorry, yeah. And from version 20, there was $28 removed from the vehicle supply. So the difference was in the expenses was down $28, and the total added, the budget is down to 3,143 from what we had reviewed in version 20.
Hmm.
alrighty.
Okay, good with facilities, no questions?
No.
And then if we add up all the differences, the pluses and the minuses, we're seeing that we had about a $50,611 difference between what we had reviewed and what's in the final.
Mm-hmm.
How much is that again? 50 what?
50,611. we ready to move on to public safety?
Yep.
Okay. Again, these were my questions that I was starting to put out, so it's kind of like I'm going to take the comment out, just or the question out, just because we have the answers on it. So we have the lieutenant's salary has increased over what we had reviewed by $9,064 for Collins. We have the final for the police salary wages, and it is now up $18,367. Okay, so this is sort of a name change on there. If I take it back,
Yeah, union and non-union now.
was added, right? Yep, that was. Make sure I get it on the right line, 5112. I didn't put it on the right line. So, and you can see the pound and A's went away with the difference, and so now we're looking at a $585 difference with and again, we had Collins Center Union and Collins Center. On that, we have overtime increase is $3,575. The stipends for Quinn is up by 2,000, so the total increase is 33,000 on the police personnel lines. So I'm just trying to get the whole of the personnel.
Staff. Oh, there goes again.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
All that I heard was staff.
Yeah. I wanted to know if the police was fully staffed now.
Ah, okay.
The answer is yes.
Thank you.
Jim, I wondered why the Quinn bill is up.
The same percentage that wages increase, you have to apply to Quinn because Quinn is a percentage of their wage.
Okay. How many
So-
people do we have remaining on Quinn?
Oh, goodness. I don't know, Andrea. I'd have to do a little bit of digging to find out, but so we've got a number of people that are getting the 100% benefit, and then another number of people that are only getting the local 50%.
$33 is the difference.
33,602.
No, so that's Collins.
Yeah.
Collins and the Quinn, right?
And Jim, I guess the question for the overtime, this is just going up because of the increase in the regular weight in standard wages with the union
Exactly.
discussion.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I'm hoping that'll go down next year if we're fully staffed.
That's the hope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so
Okay.
that's 33. Okay, keep going,
Yep.
do the rest of it.
Okay. Yeah. See, I don't. We'll take a look. All the expenses, the expense line are identical. So the whole difference on the police budget is the labor increases.
So I want to do a motion on the police.
What was the total amount? 33 what?
33,602.
I'll make a motion that we increase the police budget by 33,602.
You got a glove?
Mitch.
You bringing me a glove?
I'll second.
Because you're a good doggy.
All in favor?
Geraldine, yes?
Andrea, yes.
Don, aye.
Sam, I.
Lynn Pinkerton, aye. Okay,
Okay.
so moving on.
Moving on. See, I put the same question on the.
Yeah,
Um,
well, the fire chief
Yeah.
contract isn't final yet.
Okay. So.
Where are the differences?
Let's see. I get down to the bottom line on fire EMS. There are no differences.
Okay, so there
So
would be difference once they finish his contract.
Yeah.
And
So we have to come back to this one next week, right? Or not?
well, we can put it on there, but it would only be for the fire chief's contract.
Yeah.
yeah, what the final number will be on.
Again, the Board of Selectmen have already approved this, so the fire chief's
Yeah.
wage increase, whatever it will already be covered in the budget you've approved up above in the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
The chief's number there won't change
Mhm.
until a special town meeting.
And we
Okay,
do a fund. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
thank you. So moving on.
Okay, moving on. Communication center. Nothing there. Same. Communication center did not change.
All right.
Okay, so I have a line with a pound and a, and again, this looks like the final version is this description.
Change from non-union to union.
Yeah, hey, we had talked about it, but I was trying to sit with as much as it, not change it until somebody saw it. I didn't want to change the building inspector. Hate when I do that.
Well, that didn't change that much.
Um,
Basically, it's the Collins Center again, right? Yep. Yeah.
So, on the building inspector, we have two lines for a total of 6,204 that are both Collins Center. And the total is, the total change on the building inspector is all the labor, all the Collins changes.
All right.
We good on building inspector?
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah. I am.
Okay. Gas inspector lines, no changes. Plumbing inspector. No changes. Sealer of weights, no changes. Electrical inspector, no changes. Animal inspector, no changes. Emergency management, no
Small change.
changes. I just want to double check. Everybody okay with the speed? I'm doing it when there's no
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
Okay. Animal control, no changes. Oops. Sorry, get it all on the same page. Tree warden, no changes. Burial agent, no changes. Parking clerk, no changes. The difference was everything we looked at on the wages. And so the difference is the 39,000 on total public safety.
Mhm.
Okay, so now moving to education. There was one increase between what we had looked at. It went down $3,753 to North Middlesex between the two versions.
All right, now you later. Thank you.
Small and down, no need. Everybody, we're good to move on.
Yep.
Okay, streets and highway. See if we can get all the personnel on one screen. Okay. This again was a little change to the description on the account.
What's the difference in what is the difference there? 40 something?
Or
4,400 for the superintendent, 4,451. Then for the operations staff, 10,252. Support staff, this looks like it was,
Hmm.
get it
wasn't
back.
That must have dropped in hours. Is that what that drop is?
I think when we were looking at the support staff, I thought he was talking about running it without a support staff.
That's
in
what
the
I
office.
thought. Jim?
The support staff is the office secretary,
Yeah.
not the working crew on the
Right.
department.
And when we had looked at it and reviewed it,
There was none,
there was none. So
right? The last iteration that the select board went through, they felt strongly about placing 10 hours there. And in part, that also ties back to the temporary staff issue in the selectman's office. Some of that work is that's not being done when there's no admin down there has been coming up here. So this is
Mhm.
trying to give it a place to actually be down on site where it belongs.
So then he got it back again, correct?
It used to be 15 hours. Now it's only budgeted at 10.
10 hours.
Okay.
So it's gone down 33,000, right? 33,579. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like, there's a difference of 24K.
20, yep. So,
So it's all salary.
it's all salary, and 14,703 is the Collins. So,
But it dropped, right? Was that because of, why did it drop?
no, this is increases. The drops will have the parentheses around it showing it's a negative number.
What line are you on? 562?
We're on 571.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
Okay, yeah,
okay.
yeah, so, and
So
sorry, it's
what
kind of
happened?
I gave you the row number, not the line number.
Okay, all right, sorry.
Yeah, my fault. It's kind of like, so we're in highway and so we're looking at 568, 569 at this point.
Okay,
And then we'll be looking at 572. So
all right.
so these are the three lines that total the
So that is a minus 33, right?
no, we're increasing. So when we looked at the budget, it was 342,601 on the
Okay,
blue, and now it's 366,630.
okay, all right.
So I think that the difference was really the big difference is we had the two Collins line, and now we've got the support staff for the office coming in
Okay,
because the people that were doing the work may not be there to do the work.
okay.
And again, it's 10 hours versus the old 15.
All right, so because.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay.
The
And
rest,
there were no other changes to the expenses. And so the total increase on the budget is the one line, is the 24,000 for the labor.
okay, is everybody okay with this? It's only
Yep.
wages.
Yeah,
All right,
We're good,
mhm.
okay? Snow and ice.
Hmm.
Everything's the same in snow and ice, no changes.
okay.
Street lights.
The lack of,
Yeah, we put your own on at the end of your.
okay,
No changes there. Total streets and highways. Again, the change is the labor, the total labor. So his total change is the labor that we had seen in the highway department. We good to move on?
Mhm.
Yep.
Landfill. Total landfill and solid waste, no changes. cemeteries and parks. And because it's kind of big, we'll work just in the personnel area. We had the Collins Center for the superintendent, increase of 2,600. The operating foreman non-union is dropping by 1,027. And support staff is increased by 667. So the total difference is the 2,240 in the personnel.
Now you have their Collins Center if reclassed.
Yeah.
But the changes in wages is due to Collins.
Madam Chair, there was also a reclassification of the position since version 20's budget. So that increase is a result of Collins and reclassification.
Jim, are you still with us?
You
Yeah, I was, I thought, was I on mute?
no, I heard you shoot. It may have been a cutout on the internet.
Yeah, what I was saying, Madam Chair, is that the position has been adjusted for Collins and also has been reclassified since this version of the budget. So the parenthetical note, if reclassified, could come out because it has since been reclassified.
Okay. So the increase is per Collins then.
It's Collins and having been reclassified. He's still in Collins, but it's just at a different grade.
Okay.
Just to try to keep.
All right. Do we have anything below that?
No, everything else in cemeteries and parks remained the same. And so the only difference is the total salary change.
All right.
Any actions or questions for cemetery?
Nope.
Okay, move on to housing. Difference in the personnel for 303 with Collins. And the total housing authority change is 303, so the change is all Collins.
Okay.
Let's see if we get Board of Health all on the same screen. So we have it's kind of like highlight lines as we talk about them. The Collins Center for an increase of 2491, and that's the whole of the increase in difference between what we had approved to the final.
Okay.
We good with Board of Health? Moving on to Neshoba Associated Board of Health, no changes. Landfill Engineering, no changes. Council on Aging. So we had the director.
That was a pretty big amount.
And the rest of Council on Aging is no, is not changed. Everything else is the same. So the only change was the Collins salary on the director.
And Madam Chair, if I could just speak to that briefly. I think I said at one of your earlier meetings that this was an issue that ties back to the original spreadsheet that the Collins Center provided, where they had all of the grades for each position by what they call factor, which is like confidentiality, supervision, and then by degree, which is a specific number of points in their rubric. On the position of Council on Aging Director, looking at the way it was classified, it seemed a little odd that it was low when compared to the other positions in the next higher grade. And when the director and I were looking into it, it turns out that the Collins Center spreadsheet had applied the appropriate grade on one of the factors, but it did not carry the formula to the next cell and give it the amount of points that it should have. So when that was fixed, it put it into the next grade, which is why you see this increase. And it's where it should have been all along had that error not been there.
Thank you.
Okay. We ready to move on from
Yep.
Council on Aging? Okay, veterans agent. No changes.
No changes?
Not in veterans agent.
No, I see it. I was looking at the wrong line.
Oh, okay. The total human services, which is next, is
Right.
is that set of increases that we had seen that total up from each of these
Right.
increases in the Board of Health, Council on Aging, and Housing Authority. Okay. Yep. So so that was the total difference on human services. We've sort of looked at them each area at its own. So I've been sort of skipping over the line. Okay. Now we're into culture and recreation, library. And if I scroll down, everything in total library is unchanged, so that remains the same from what we had looked at in version 20. The recreation budget, we've had two increases for Collins Center, the department head, and the support staff, for a total of $27,374. And that is the total increase on the recreation budget.
Okay.
Memorial Day band.
Jim,
Yes.
I have a question on
Yep.
recreation. The way it's up, I can't understand. Is the department head gets, oh wait, let me start again. I'm sorry. Is the support staff being paid a wage from tax dollars now?
No. What you're seeing there, just fiscal 22 columns, Andrea.
Uh-huh.
You saw the fiscal 21 column, you'd see that there was a zero there because that used to, that hasn't been funded by the tax base before.
Right, but it's going to be funded by the tax base now.
In 22, the request is to fund it by the tax base, yes.
Right.
So that's a new employee again.
No, the employee has existed,
But it was not paid from the tax dollars. So in a sense, it's a new employee because it's a new wage.
It's a new employee to the budget, that is correct.
Okay.
Right. And if I recall, we said we would revisit it next year. We put that caveat that we're funding it for 1 year only.
Right, that was your vote of support.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I wanted to bring in the fiscal year 21 column just so that we could see it. So yes, it was zero and paid from receipts, I believe, in prior years.
Yep.
And so this year we had made the motion that we would approve it and pay it from taxpayer, to be revisited once receipts start coming in again on the recreation programs.
So,
Andrea, is that what you recall from this, or is that what you were looking for?
It's not exactly what I recall, but it makes absolute sense. So I'm all set. I'm just concerned that putting on all these employees and all, that next year we're not going to be able to afford them.
Well, I think
And-
that's, we put the 1 year saying that because of the receipts were so low this year, but that has to be readdressed next year again.
But see, we also are self-insured for unemployment. So even
Right.
if we have to let them go, we still have to pay them until they find another job. So it's sort of, it's expensive either way. So making a mistake here, it's a bigger mistake than might look on the surface. But I'll go along with it. The selectmen seem to have every confidence.
so you're saying if we put these people on for 1 year, that the insurance is still has to be paid?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, for that 1 year, but after that,
And she's talking about unemployment, Madam Chair. If you keep them on for a year and then you let them go, they have a right to collect unemployment, and we pay unemployment on an as-you-go basis. So Andrea's point is, we pay them $1 this year, and then we let them go. We're going to be paying 62 cents next year in unemployment for some number of weeks.
okay. But the people really didn't go anywhere. They're still there. They're just being paid by a different means.
Well, I think, but that's the concern is next year, not this year.
Right. Well, we still have to be vigilant about what it means to the town, even though it's going to be there for 1 year. Because I'm sure those people are still going to be there and they'll be paid out of the receipts.
Only in recreation. All the other employees that have been put on aren't going to be paid from that. They're going to be paid from just plain tax dollars, and they're going to get it. She will get it unless they make enough money for her to go back on the other. But once she's in the budget and we're paying her salary, there is no need for them to go back to the old way. You can't force them. They don't want to put her back on that kind of salary and have her as a full-time, as many hours as Ken is for a full-time. Forever. You should consider her in the budget now from this point on. If I was a department head, that's what I'd do, and I'd expect that's what they do.
Oh, you're probably right.
Because you changed her status, and you changed her status to the better.
Right.
We can go ahead and support this. I do realize how hard recreation works and how much they do need help all the time. But I just put what I said out as a warning. You know,
Mhm.
we may have unforeseen, unaffordable things next year, or difficult to afford, depending on how our general economy is.
Hmm.
Well, how do people want to vote on this?
I move to accept the recreation budget as presented.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor?
Andrea would know.
Geraldine, no.
Sam?
I really can't make up my mind. I agree with not adding it to the budget. And I think we have a responsibility to the community at the same time, but I'm looking at it as a piece of the whole. It's kind of difficult to give you an answer one way or the other.
So you would you consider that an abstaining?
Yes, I guess I'm gonna have to abstain because I'm all in favor of it and I'm all against it all at the same time.
Yeah.
So it depends on which me you want to talk to.
Yeah. Okay, Dawn?
I had voted for it before. I think I stick with that. I'll vote. Yeah, yes. We'll approve budget.
Hmm. Okay, and I am like Sam, I'm on the fence.
Mhm.
I know it's important, but
The longer term effect has, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna abstain.
So where does that leave us? 2 no's, abstention, and a yes?
Yep.
Two, and one. Yeah. 2, 1, and 2. Yeah. And so it doesn't, the budget doesn't go until we have more conversation, I guess, about the support staff and paying.
Things are
Okay.
still tough.
Now,
Jim,
Yes,
how do abstained votes count or not count? Are they just
They-
a
they
zero?
count. They count towards the quorum that you need, but they don't have a positive or negative impact. So they are just
Okay.
as was read. It's 2 no's, 1 yes, 2 abstentions.
So that's kind of leaves it to the people what they want to do, correct?
Yeah,
And they can vote on the meeting floor, right?
They can. This would be your recommendation. Ultimately, recommendations are not of any of us.
Yeah.
I guess I'd be curious, what changed since your last vote on this, which was, I think, a week or two ago, where you said yes for 1 year?
Well,
Because it becomes permanent payroll and not necessarily out of the receipts. And when the things start to pop back in a few years, they still get it off the payroll, and the receipts that they used to be paid off of go to something else.
I think that was my reasoning too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's not gonna disappear. It's not gonna necessarily go back to receipts, like, you know, if we don't do it and she can't get it, we're gonna end up paying unemployment, and I don't know.
Oh, I hear you.
yeah, and then plus, okay, if we
Hmm.
pay them, what are they gonna do with all the receipts? Where's that money gonna go?
Well, if they make enough receipts, it's not a problem.
Yeah, but if you have them on the budget, it's gonna be there.
Well, that's a catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, well, I was gonna ask the same question, but in a different way.
All right.
If normally she was paid from receipts and the summer program does well, and she or he administers, are they gonna get two salaries? The one voted here and one from
Receipts?
receipts from the summer program?
That is
can't-
not my understanding at all. No.
Okay, good. I just didn't know.
And Jim, I guess the question would be, was this person, when getting paid from receipts, were they still an employee and eligible for unemployment?
Oh,
Yes, actually.
Oh,
So-
I didn't know that either.
Oh,
Yeah, because they're still getting a town paycheck.
Yeah, they're still getting a town paycheck, so all that we're doing is funding it from a different source this year.
Yes, but then the other counselors who work
Mhm.
there during the summer, they don't get unemployment after they leave.
No, I would think they get paid by stipend.
And they're considered seasonal at their hire, so the expectation is that it's going to end.
And why wasn't she considered seasonal if she was only paid for the summer recreation program?
I don't believe it was just for summer, Andrea. I think they had the remote learning program they had set up this past winter. They have the after school program. So this person was assisting with all of that, including summer rec.
But they just generated enough money from summer rec to carry her in those places before.
Well, there were also fees being charged for the after school throughout the school year, and the remote learning too. So the fees, would be coming from a number of different programs. If they do a road race and they make, $27, that goes into the revolving fund. So it was less about what specific program was supporting this position and more just about it wasn't being supported by the town budget proper. It was being supported by their receipts. I hear you saying that it's likely that once it's in the budget, it's never going to come out again, but that becomes a question of discipline for people like you, the selectmen, me, in putting the budget together next year. If your position, as it was before a few moments ago, was yes, for 1 year, and next year you looked at the budget and you saw it in there again, you would take that hard line and you would articulate that to the select board that you supported it last year, but only for the year. And, the hope is that between now and then, the receipts kick back up again and they don't need to have it in the budget.
so can that be specified?
It
Can
would
we-
have been as a part of your recommendations to the town meeting with your prior vote. It would have been approved for 1 year.
Well,
Well, if the receipts are down, why isn't the work down?
Oh, because of COVID spacing and like that. COVID hit them very hard because of spacing and masks and everything else.
And Sam, the only way receipts will start to grow is if they have programs. The only way they can have programs is if they have the staff. So we're in a kind of a chicken and an egg thing here.
Well, I think it's great that we have the chicken in town, so I'll stick with whatever the rest of you say.
All right, do we want to reconsider a vote then?
I think we should, I guess.
So we can put in there that we approve the budget, but on recreation, it's just for 1 year.
Correct.
Remember, it's only a recommendation. It doesn't hold any weight at all.
Correct.
We only have the power to recommend. Okay, just so you
Right.
understand.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna come back and bite us anyway, so.
So that's it. Once it's in there, it's gonna stay there and the town will figure out a way to pay for it. Whatever town meeting we get all to be able to attend again. But that's fine.
All right, I move to accept the recreation budget as presented with the support, wait a minute, support staff in the budget for only 1 year.
Sam,
I'll
we're
second.
aye.
Gerald and I. And that's written in the recommendation, right?
Right.
Well, it isn't now, but it will be.
It will be, I get it, yeah. All right.
John Hayes, aye.
Lynn Pinkerton, aye.
Andrea would know. So it carries by a simple majority.
Right.
Okay. All right, we beat that one to death. Let's go on.
Memorial Day and bands, no changes.
Good.
Are we gonna have band concerts this year?
My
Well,
hope,
that depends again on what the
Mm,
state has set up for COVID restrictions.
yep, the outdoor music, it said, I believe the most recent from the governor was that in July, you can start doing that with, I believe it was 50% capacity. So the hope is yes.
Okay. And if it doesn't, it just goes back into the general fund anyway, right?
Yeah, it just would close out to free cash.
Okay, I'll recommend that the Memorial Day band concert fund.
no, there was, okay, there was no
There
change.
was no changes,
Oh,
so,
Anyway, yeah, all right,
okay, thank you, Gary.
okay.
All right, moving on.
Okay, yeah, oh.
Excuse me, Lynn, how long do we have the room? It's 6:42.
Yeah, I thought we had it to 8.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't
Then
have
that's
that much
fine.
in me.
What?
I don't have that much energy left in my day.
Well, we
Okay,
need to
well,
get
wait,
this.
we're getting down near the end. I kind of,
Good.
I don't remember exactly how many lines, but it looks like now all of a sudden I'm questioning. I had 0 in my version 20, and it looks like we put 2,000 in the American Flag Committee.
That is correct. It was 7,500 in this current year. It was zeroed out in all of the earlier versions of the budget.
Okay,
And then the board put 2 back in.
Okay,
Don't start questioning yourself, Don. I will lose all faith.
no, it's just that, you know, that it's one line out of 800, so percentage-wise, it's looking pretty good.
Okay.
okay, so, it was zero in 2000. Do we need to, do we need to make a motion to approve it since there was nothing approved prior?
Is that a yes or no?
We recommended it on the recommendation sheet, but we recommended it as when we, in the notes for the meeting, as a non-budget. So this is an increase, but it's certainly not as much as it was before.
Mhm.
So I don't see any problem in supporting it.
Okay,
Well, you may all seem to have a problem with it. Just because I don't doesn't mean anything.
No,
I'm not fighting over that.
nope. Moving on.
okay, moving on. We moved into,
The
to
debt.
debt services. And so when we look at this, is on the long-term debt principal, there was no change. There was a decrease of $6,924 between what we had reviewed for the principal non-exempt long-term. We had the decrease on the interest of $159,824.
Right.
And the interest non-exempt, also a decrease of 89,000. So the, and the last on the short-term loan, a decrease of 161,000. It went from the 171 to 10,000. So overall, like, sorry, I'm just looking at it and wondering if we had all these decreases, why the total looks to be the same.
Yeah, there's something funky that you got going on there.
Mine
So
doesn't,
long-term debt principal exempt should be 171,924. So you've got that one correct.
But this is from version 20 in the FY22, in the final version, it's sitting at these lower numbers.
I'm looking at, that's funny because I'm looking at it on the screen here and they're all, the higher numbers are still all in there.
on 22?
I'm looking at the, Carolyn, you're looking at the warrant version, right?
I am the one yes.
Yeah. So if you look at on the warrant version, line 782,
All right,
what do you see?
782. I see 170,000 in 21 and 171,924 in 22.
Right. And then in the next one for 784, you should see 165 for 22.
For 22, correct,
And then 12,1,
correct,
and then 82,050,
correct,
and then 10,000.
right.
Something glitchy.
Yep.
So what's that column FY22 base that you're working in now?
This should have been and come over from the file you provided. I did
But it-
nothing to this column. I only modified out here.
Right.
starting
So
at P.
I don't know why it didn't carry over then.
So what should the bottom line be?
What you see in your version of the warrant.
Yeah, it's kind of, so somehow these numbers look like,
You've still got the right total though. That's what's strange, Don.
Yeah, this was
441
strange.
before.
Yeah, the right total is here, but these numbers just didn't seem to.
Is that total keyed to the debt page, the debt worksheet? No,
No,
that's bizarre. Well, no, that one works because they're all there.
yeah.
Hmm.
So it is 441,
Right.
but oh, I'm looking at these are all the same. Okay, so something. Okay, I got it. It's kind of it's my lookup because I've only got debt and interest
Oh, so it grabbed the 172 or whatever?
and just kept going. Yep,
Okay.
because the tool and the lookup I use has to do a match, but because it's only going on debt and interest and we don't have anything in this column to pick up, there's
Right.
nothing to make it unique.
Okay.
So what I needed to do is take this on each one and throw it in here and do the same on mine, and that would bring it in. So, so the fact that in the end, we had debt and interest and total debt and interest, that's where we had the match. So the numbers are not any different.
Yep.
The numbers are totally what you have here, and we match on the total. So there is no change in
Yeah.
total debt and interest. It was my formulas that made it look like it was different.
Give me a heart.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of like, but you know, little bit. It's kind of like, because when you start totaling this column, it adds up to way more than the 441. So
Sure. Yeah.
as it should, and so that's the piece. So formula error in looking it up, and we'll.
Good.
Yep, it's all. Oops. I'm trying to copy. Okay, so I'll fix it. So there are no changes in there to worry about.
Hmm.
So the 441 is as we had seen and approved before. Nothing new. The county retirement is all the same. Unemployment is unchanged. Health insurance. So when we looked at it,
There are a couple things that have changed since you guys looked at it. One is the board decided to go with the 11-month.
Oh.
So that's one.
Mhm.
And then there are 2 additional employees added
Yeah.
to the census at roughly 30 grand apiece.
Okay.
Ugh.
So that's where the 30,000 difference comes in. So this was the 11-month, and this is
Right.
the 11-month with 2 new employees.
Correct.
Okay. So I guess there's not much we can do about that. We hire the employees, they get the health insurance, and we pay it.
Mhm.
Life insurance is the same. Medicare is increased, same 2 employees.
Just a function of the wages, yeah.
Yep, okay, and all the other wage increases. No change to the general insurance. And then the total difference of all the changes that we have had to match. So we had originally looked at the 24,043,803, and now the town budget is at 24,199,382.
And that's nearly entirely Collins.
Yeah.
Jim, does this put us out of balance?
No, that is the number that I have in balance, 24,382.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Right,
Oh,
that takes care of that. So we really only have that one, which is recreation, that we have a problem with.
So in a budget 2 years ago, you had a similar situation with a different department. And the way the budget was presented on the floor was it was a budget that was agreed to by the select board and the finance committee with one exception, and it was listed line number, whatever it is. You know, the finance committee had a footnote, something like that. So we're pretty much in the same position.
Mhm.
Good.
Does the town be, can they be brought aware of the Collins, that this is what it seems to be, why everything has gone up so much? It's not that we've gone up in operating budgets, but we've gone up in wages.
Yeah, the Collins Center should show in the warrant version of the budget, Marilyn, that you have. It should have a note there. And in my budget book that I'm working up now, I'm required to have a budget memo, and the budget memo has a good portion dedicated to what that means, what Collins is, and what impact it had.
Well, that's what I was thinking. A lot of people, they're gonna hear Collins, they're not gonna know what that is.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be explained as to how that came into play and why it is.
Yep, agree.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So,
John?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Don.
Oh, yes.
Anytime.
And
that was,
I have enough problems with my simple.
Yeah.
Way above my pay grade there.
It'll be above mine next month. Kind of. Yeah. Nope. Willing to do anything with spreadsheets.
Oh, great.
yes, thank you for putting this together for us.
Yeah.
Make life a lot easier.
So do we need to meet next week or not?
We had one,
If we could go over the recommendations, we certainly don't.
right. We
Okay.
need to go to that.
Madam Chair, I need to take my leave here. Is that okay with you folks, now that the budget's behind?
Sure.
Why should we suffer alone?
So Dawn, oops,
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you have the recommendation that Andrea sent out.
If she sent them out, it may be. I haven't.
She sent them out today.
I sent them out this morning
Yeah.
at 2:22 to be exact.
Okay. Ooh, somebody was up late.
Yep.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Good
Jim.
night.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, guys. Good work.
Downloaded Okay. Let's see if we can find it. Look at that. Rich text format. Okay.
Here we are. All right, can we make it a little bigger? Good. Can you see that, Jerry?
I can.
Um,
It's cut off, maybe a dab smaller.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
these
Better.
are
perfect.
the
Um,
recommendations that Andrea drew up. And the first one is special town meeting, Article 1. We recommended, this is a bill from a previous year. It is an obligation and must be paid. Just yell out if you want to say something about an article.
Keep going.
Article 2, we recommended. This article is to transfer from available funds, the sum of which is the deficit between the budgeted amount and the actual expenditure for snow and ice.
That could be phrased a little less awkwardly, it seems. I'll work on that if the rest is all right for you.
Yes. I know, it was a little difficult to say.
Yeah. It was early in the morning. No,
Hmm.
actually, I did this in the afternoon.
Okay, moving on to Article 3. We recommended, this article is to repurpose the use of previously raised funds in the capital plan for a more pressing need.
You have to remember, this may not in a way sound like it makes sense. Overall, it does, because I didn't want to just repeat exactly
mhm.
what was already in the in under Lee's.
Positive,
Yeah,
the reserve
Yeah.
receipt.
yeah, and that's why I left out the name of the account and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So it was just trying to be concise.
Account. This article will take the money from that account for the purpose of the new 4 pumps. Okay, so what did we? I'm trying to think. Oh. What did we just give them? We gave them 33,000 for something.
Oh, not IV pumps. Those were fire pumps, that pump water.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just remembered the pumps and I'm going, I thought I just,
Yeah.
all right,
Well-
Article 5. Recommend. This article will allow the Recreation Department to enter into a lease agreement for a site to run the summer program using existing COVID funding. No tax dollars to cover the cost. That sounds good.
Mhm.
Mm.
And that's the end of the special town meeting.
All right.
Right.
Any questions on those?
Oh,
All right, moving on. Annual town meeting. Article 4. Recommended revolving funds are funded from receipts, not tax dollars, and are for a specific purpose. Well, that revolving funds are funded. I don't understand this one. Revolving,
At the um
is
at the
someone,
landfill, for example, to get rid of certain merchandise that you bring in,
yeah,
there's a charge. That charge goes into the revolving fund to fund the operation of the thing. That's the receipt. He has a nice in the
I was going to look to see if we could open up. I'll have to go back. Jim sent it last week, I think, so.
Mm.
in the presentation, he has a nice graph showing what the revolving funds are.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they were making a new one or,
No,
And they-
they're just, you have to take the money out every year. Money comes into the town, no money that comes into the town, maybe there is one example, I don't know it though. Money comes into the town and goes into the general fund or into the water department's general fund or whatever. You can't have money come in and spend it. It has to be voted out once a year. Now, this article allows them to take the money out of it sets amount for a year and allows them to take the money out as they need it along the year.
right. So this would be a specific revolving fund.
Mhm.
No, it's
Yeah.
7 of them, 6 or 7, 8 of them, something like that.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay. All right.
let me see if I can open.
You are so good with this computer, I can hardly stand it. Makes me want to buckle down and learn something.
Yeah, but why? Now I'm looking at, it's not downloading. Why? It's kind of, let's see if we can open it up. Oh, it's 43 pages, so
Yeah.
it's a little big. Okay.
Oh,
I was, okay. So, and all that I was trying to do is
There it
get-
is.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, it's small, but this was the list of the revolving funds that they were transferring.
So the money comes into the town and according to which revolving fund it is,
Mhm.
it's designated to go into that fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry, it's kind of it. I'll have to give that a little bit of time to, but
There.
yeah, it's kind of like
Okay. Moving on.
This
Artic-
is the problem one.
Okay.
I already had a problem with it, as you can see by the asterisk.
Yep. So Article 5 recommended with one exception, line 217, Land Use Administrator. We do not recommend this position to be funded.
I could not remember why we recommended this position not to be funded, except when we were talking tonight, I think it was just in the last year, it's been filled twice for very short periods of time. There's paperwork that has to be caught up, but it's policy paperwork that you use to get grants. It's not business paperwork that makes the town go forward. And I don't know why, I don't know how to write why we didn't support this. And if you want to revote and support it, after all the things we've learned today, that's fine. Because in the total that we did, which was not increased, this position was fully funded. And it's been fully funded for several years. We just have a terrible time filling it.
Mm.
Right. I want to see what it. That was Article 5. Yeah, on our last time going through this, we did recommend Article 5.
We did. I had it as a unanimous no in my notes.
No,
All
I would
right.
have been,
I so recommended.
Well, you're right. I'm probably wrong. I probably dozed off.
Hmm.
Had a senior moment or something.
you're not old enough for a senior moment yet.
Oh, you're so sweet, Sam. Uh, um, but we still have to address this article in the sense that now we have to add the 1 year for recreation.
Yeah.
How do you want to word that?
All right, let's go back. But that one was for land use, not recreation.
Right.
Right, but it's all part of the budget. Wasn't it part of the budget, Article 5? Oh,
What?
Yeah.
yeah,
Article 5 is the whole budget.
right.
Ah, okay. All right. So now we need to go to Article 5. Recommendations there.
Wasn't our recommendation for, this is for the recreation, right? Our recommendation was for, to fund it for only a year.
Right.
Yeah.
With one exception.
Just ignore what's there now.
I know. We could say with one exception,
Yeah,
recreation.
okay.
Well,
Support position, whatever it is.
yeah, but we're recommending the whole budget, but also recommending that it's a 1 year funding for that position.
So how you want to say that we recommend the whole thing?
With the with the one exception?
Yes. We recommend the entire budget for FY '22 with one exception to, yeah, now you gotta double it.
It's not the exception with the plan.
Okay, with the
Fund
plan that
the,
recreation is funded for 1 year only.
yeah,
No, not all of recommendation, no. Because we want to fund recreation.
Yeah.
I mean, salary, the director's salary and everything from
Right.
now on. It's only that support position that we want for 1 year to go back to the way it was funded before.
All right, so we just gotta put that in there. The entire. I would just put recommend the budget for FY '22, take out entire. There. Recommend the budget for FY '22 with the plan to fund the recreation support staff positions for 1 year. And to fund the recreation support staff position for FY '22.
Yeah,
And the position will revert back to prior years. Fund receipt.
that's what spell check is for.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just throwing some words together.
yeah. All right, you can
And
eliminate,
that's a redundancy, so.
yeah. So let me
Um,
read it.
Yep.
Okay, recommend the budget for FY '22 with the plan to fund the recreation support staff position for FY '22.
Only.
Only,
Yeah.
Okay,
Only,
yeah, okay, good.
there. In FY '23, the position will revert to prior year funding from recreation.
Various funding source.
Thank you.
The position will revert to prior year's funding source for, or, no, yeah, funding source recreation needs
oh.
account. Shouldn't it be the position will revert back?
Yes,
Okay, we can do that. It's kind of like revert, I think, when I put back in here, I sort of get the, which I think is sort of a grammar thing, because if you're reverting to something, you're,
You're going back.
yeah,
yeah, well, yeah, but it also clarifies it, even though it is redundant.
okay, that's fine. It's this is only a suggestion that you look at it.
Yeah. Will
Tell
revert.
them what you said after you tell them what you said.
Yeah, the computer's too smart for what I'm doing.
Oh, and tell all the the teachers in the audience descend on us. to
Let them
correct the
descend.
problem.
I'll bring my sword or my saber or both.
Okay.
Yeah, take that out.
Okay, that's where it had started. It's kind of like,
So is everybody in agreement with what we wrote, or Dawn?
yes.
I typed this was a collaboration. This is a collaboration trying to get through.
Between source and recreation, shouldn't there be the word the?
Don't know where we are, not to see it.
The bottom line on 5.
Oh, here,
It-
I see it.
Prior year,
No, not there.
Oh, okay.
Prior year funding source, the recreation receipt account.
Okay, yeah. Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right. So we in agreement with that now?
Ooh.
That's yes. Thank you so much. I really suffered with that one.
Take the asterisk off.
Please.
Yep. Yay! Get that one done. Number 6. Recommend for 2 years.
Okay.
Retroactive pay.
Of course.
So 2 years.
Hmm.
Wait a minute. Recommended for 2 years. No.
It's kind of like, so we're recommending it, and the statements around explaining that.
I know, I was thinking of the wording here.
Yeah,
Okay. for
yeah.
2 years. I think these should come out.
Well, no, because it's not all union employees. It's only the ones
These.
receiving the raise. It's only some of them. The clerical union and the supervisors union, I think.
By the whole budget.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sorry, it's kind of like,
Oh, okay. Is this the one that's coming out of the stabilization fund?
Stabilization, yes.
Okay. So go back to the article.
Okay, so if we come here, Article 6 says recommended, and it talks about the union employees. When I look at Article 6 here, it's talking about for elected officers.
Oh,
Can you make that bigger so I can read it?
I'm trying. It's kind of,
I know.
oh, I got it. Let's try this. Let's try this. Come on, talk to me, system.
That's because it's too big.
Yeah, and
To see if the town will vote to fix the salaries and compensation of all
Yeah.
elected officers of the town.
sorry, sorry. I'm kind of,
Oh,
was just trying to. Okay, so this one is talking about the town clerks.
yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's another one on there.
Okay,
Uh,
I think Article 6 and 7 are backwards on the recommendation.
Okay,
So I think Article 6 is for the 2 years union employees. And this is the retroactive salary adjustments.
it's
Okay.
about
So
the
I-
town clerk's
Yeah.
budgeted salary.
So the town clerk's budgeted salary would be Article 6.
Mhm.
And this will be Article 7.
Yeah, this article allows elected officials to be paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, and so that seems to line up, and I know it's very small, but to see if the vote for the salaries and compensation of elected officials is Article 6. Then we
Mhm.
get to Article 7, and we're voting to appropriate from stabilization account the 215,000 for retroactive salary for all unionized employees.
Yeah,
So that takes us and puts Article 6 with the elected officials and Article 7 for the
union.
union employees.
Okay, for 2 years. So can you take out these at?
Um,
for
yeah,
2
sorry.
years, union employees have been in contract negotiations without a salary raise. This article will provide the funding for a negotiated settlement for the 2 years of retroactive pay. Yep,
Okay.
we need to say out of the stabilization fund. Ugh, I can never say that.
no, it's already said there. We don't have to
Yeah.
repeat
Okay.
it.
Right, yeah.
Okay, moving on, number 8.
Yeah.
Recommend the water department is an enterprise fund funding from water receipts,
Yep.
no tax dollars. This article will set the operating budget of the water department. Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay, Article 9. This article will transfer from the water enterprise excess account to pay down a temporary loan. Yep, that's good. Article 10, recommend sometimes when a project is finished, there is money remaining in an account. This article will take the remaining money in 7 finished project accounts and reauthorize its use to the Main Street well replacement and upgrade project account. That's still with the water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Article 11. Recommend the capital plan prioritize the capital purchases needed by departments and identifies the funding source. Yep. Okay, Article 12. This article will reallocate the balance remaining in an account to purchase door locks. This is the use of existing funds, not new tax dollars. Very good. 13, recommended, this article will reallocate funds from the feasibility project to fund a housing production plan. Okay. Article 14, recommended, this article establishes the method of setting the Townsend Community Access Media, TCAM budget.
Yeah.
The funding is from the PEG Access Receipts account, not tax dollars. I like that one too. As long as it doesn't come out of the tax dollars.
Yeah.
All right, Article 15. Recommend, the idea here is to raise a small amount of money each year to fund the town's 300-year celebration. Article 16. Recommend the assessor's periodical inspections and property data verification program is mandated by the state. That's a mouthful. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on, Article 17. Recommended, this is the final payment due for police chief.
Chief Boynton,
Hmm.
Chief Bailey, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bailey.
This is the last one though, that's good.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because we have a place for that money next year.
That's right.
Several places, yeah.
Yeah, it should go back into the roads.
Oh,
Well-
listen, because they did my road. I'm very happy.
Mm.
I know, but they
Now
took
they
the
need
road
they
money
need
out
to
of there to budget the, yeah,
do
to,
the budget to pave my road.
to balance the budget. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, so now that money can go back in because we don't owe him anymore.
Right.
All right, that's Chief Bailey. Article 19, recommend, this article increases dog license fees. Yep.
Now, on this one, technically speaking, he didn't have this down as one of the financial articles for us. I
Mm.
thought it had an impact financially, so I put it in.
Mhm.
I agree, because it's an increase to
It's a-
people that have dogs.
It's an additional revenue source. We gotta pay, it helps pay.
Additional revenue source. It's not your dog we're talking about.
That's right.
And the same thing goes for Article 20. It really wasn't in there, but the 3% tax, I thought had a huge, I think we discussed it. I don't know if we took, well, I'm sure we didn't take a vote on it,
Mm. No,
but it seems to me important that we should comment on it. And whether we support the tax or not.
Hold on.
30%.
Which one? Oh, yeah. We did not do that.
no.
Okay. So, I mean, I think it's a good idea because it's in there. And if anything came about, they would have to pay us 3%. So that's a
Right.
good,
It's a good thing.
Now,
So-
yeah, I was gonna say, is that the max or is the max 5%?
The
No.
max that we can charge is
Okay,
3%.
it's the 3%. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was surprised that when it initially passed that wasn't in there. So,
Yeah.
You can remove the asterisk then,
Yep.
too. Thank you.
Moving.
Now, we discussed this when we discussed the school budget. And again, it wasn't in the list, but since we had talked about it and we had been kind of vehement about it,
mm,
I included it in here again.
Yes. Yeah, because, oh, I mean, after last year, they had $3 million in their ED.
mhm.
There should be an S on the end of the word projects. Project.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then it's just the asterisk.
The other thing, when I had a problem finding my final draft copy, where this little bit on the bottom, stabilization fund instead of returning to towns,
Mhm.
and Article 26, I widows and orphaned it. I made everything smaller and included it up so it's
Mhm.
down to 2 pages.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Here we are.
Okay, so
Oh,
now,
those are big.
what?
It didn't make it smaller by a large amount. It was,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, no. I'm just looking at this. This is 15 and a half. I might just, I'll try 15 and see what it does. No, I said I
Oh.
wanted 13. not one.
Whoa.
Okay, so if I go to 13, so let's try 14. Let's see if we. Okay, so that 14 gets it all onto there. So, okay, so I can. Okay.
But now, what's Article 26?
That's the forensic audit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I have nothing written there is that since we voted and talked about it, and we said that, you know, you couldn't make an opinion because we couldn't make an opinion because there was not enough information, no amount, no source.
Mhm.
Since then, the person who presented that article has been on, visited with several boards and presented what they want done. Not that I found it completely clear, and how much they thought it was going to cost, and the funding source. And they're going to present that in the motion. I asked Jim if the petitioners have to make the motion or agree with the motion, and he said no, that once the petition is on the thing and thoroughly discussed, anybody can make any kind of motion to do it. So the person who is representing the other petitioners can make the motion.
Right.
In a lot of years before town meeting, most years before town meeting, we get a copy of the motions. Whether we will this year or not, I don't know. But because she's presented this, I just wondered if you wanted to stay with what we said before, which is valid in a way, or not recommended for some other reason.
He hasn't given us any reason to recommend it.
Mm,
Why did you want it audited? Just because we have a great turnover in people? The town's audited all the time.
Well, it turns out she said at the selectmen's meeting
Yeah.
that there were 2 grants that she wanted to audit, that they wanted audit. And then she said something about, and all funds related to it or something. I got confused.
Yeah.
And she wants the source to be the stabilization fund.
Right. And then she also said that it would probably cost about 40,000,
Hmm.
but
Not a specific sum, yes.
right. But didn't you
Does
say
she know-
that it was going to be more than that?
No, she said that was it was likely to be. She said she had talked to a number of accounting firms and told them what she wanted, and she looked up some other ones that had what she felt were similar cases. Now, before,
Hmm.
she didn't look at similar when she quoted the quote for the other forensic audit before, which was 49 or something. It was one account for 1 year.
Right.
She wants, one of the important things is to remember is that she wants this for multiple years.
mm,
Right.
So it's going to be a multiple cost.
Right. It wasn't.
Well, and the thing is, she wants it audited on 2 grants that we received. She's questioning how the money was spent from the grants. Is that what she's questioning?
I think so.
And well, does she even know how long these grants ran?
She didn't say. I was surprised when it turned out to be grants, because it would seem to me that the administration of grants would have nothing to do with turnover of treasurers and accountants.
mm.
Hmm. Well, and let's say they don't find anything. So we spent 50 grand to find nothing.
Yes.
I guess that's my point.
Well, I'm not in favor of it, that's for sure, without a,
Well, the thing is, we have audits done yearly, whether I don't know if people realize it or not. We just don't, do books and not have people look at them. I mean, we have auditors come in all the time, don't we?
Yes.
It was brought up at the selectmen meeting, and yes, and Jim went out and got some others and put it in the file. So they're still missing one, but they
Missing what?
have it yearly.
Oh, all right.
Lynn,
Mm.
Yes.
this is Sue. I watched that meeting the other night, and what Joan said was that there were some missing. What she meant to say, I believe, was they were missing from being posted on the website.
Yes.
And
Right.
Jim said there was one other one that he could not find an electronic version of. And therefore, unless he puts it into a PDF form and then puts it on the website, it's in paper. It's a paper booklet. So somebody needs to take that and scan it in and post it. But the audits were done every single year. They have audits. She hasn't done a public records request to get copies of the ones that aren't posted. So they weren't missing. It wasn't that they weren't done. It was that they weren't on the website.
Right, and also too, Jim said he did have the missing one, but it was in booklet, and he would have to take the whole booklet apart and scan it to put it in.
Exactly. So it exists.
Yes.
It's not that the town has not done audits. As a matter of fact, we did audits specifically because we were changing accountants and treasurers.
Right. Yeah. No, I know we do them every year.
It just seems, I don't know.
Lynn, there's another point, if I could. If her concern is how the town has handled grants, which I totally missed, I know she was talking about TCAM, but if it has to do with grants, and those are federal grants, they have very stringent rules around how everything gets done and tracked. They're more stringent than just regular municipal rules.
Well, that's what I thought, but
Now that Sue said what she said, maybe you shouldn't hold me to the fact that there were two grants. Maybe one was TCAM. She talked for moments. I became increasingly confused as to what she really wanted, and I might have just made it in my mind two grants rather than having her have said that.
Okay, so if one was TCAM and one was a grant, the grant is more stringent requirements than what we have, and TCAM is simple in and out numbers.
Mm.
I mean,
And
I've heard Jim explain that a couple of times, how this is what paid for this, and he was giving a full accounting of that. From my perspective, I will speak against that on town floor.
Sure.
Because I have enough taxes to worry about, and I don't want something like that coming out of stabilization. If she wants to chase, what she's suspicious of, then she can do that privately. I don't want to pay for something that we've already paid for audits. I mean, basically, a forensic audit is saying, I think somebody's doing criminal activity here. If that's so, then go to court. Charge us with it.
Well, and when she complained about the two ideas that she found repulsive, earlier she had said that it was due to the change of people. But if it's a grant in TCAM, it would have very little to do with the change of accountants or treasurers.
Exactly. The accountant has to follow the rules that are in the grant.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So-
So, I mean, we're all in agreement that, at this point, we're not going to recommend it, and we don't take no action to it. And it will become a discussion on the floor.
Right.
So are you voting now on that? I'm sorry, I just joined, but are you voting on each one as to recommend, not recommend?
We already voted that for most of them.
This was the last.
Now we're working on the wordage because I couldn't come up with how to word it when I went to do the recommendations, and we had enough time being ahead of the process a little bit this year, so that we went all over them together, and we're working on the presentation of the articles themselves, the
Okay.
wording and understandability.
So your report.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you voted no on this one, not to recommend?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Don't worry about that. That's retarded. Let her spend her own money.
That's very nice, but we have to be a little more professional than that, probably.
So do we want to put some meat around?
I would just say it's not a town priority right now to come out of our stabilization. You already have audits in place, and one of them is a grant that already has stringent requirements on it.
Plus, another thing that nobody seems to be remembering is that when you take out a certain amount from stabilization, if it doesn't meet with sound approval, like it wasn't absolutely necessary, you can lower your rating.
That's right.
They don't like that very well. So there we are.
Yep. And we're already taking a big chunk out of there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, I think just leave it at that. Not recommended.
No,
Right.
we have to say something.
Right. Well,
Well- Say that we already have audits in place. And if it's a federal audit, if it's a federal grant she's looking for, they're more stringent than anything else. And that we feel as though that it's necessary. And if she wants to pursue it, then she should pursue it privately. Maybe we should just come out and ask her what she's really looking for. I mean, is she looking for somebody who's, thinking they're doing something not proper? Is
Well,
that what
that's the difference between a forensic audit and a regular audit.
Yeah.
A forensic audit means you're looking for somebody did something maliciously.
Well, that's what she's
And you
looking.
have to name specific things. You just don't do when
that's
you do a regular audit, you audit all the books. A forensic audit doesn't audit all the books.
Okay, so maybe we should explain that to her, that what a forensic audit is, that she has to come up and say that something's wrong, that she feels as though something, I mean, you just can't go around and say, I think. You have to have proof before you, that's a lot of money to spend on maybe I'll see if we spent extra money on something. That's, the town is having a hard enough time balancing their budget as it is.
Well, one of the things, yes, I think we have to make our point strong, because I believe she has a great deal of support within a certain group of people for this article.
But there's another whole group of people, I think, Andrea, that are going to say, why are you doing this? And be as concerned about their money as we are.
I hope so.
yeah.
I mean, if you don't mind, Lynn, I'm looking at an article online that talks about determining if you need a regular audit or a forensic audit.
Yes.
And normally, I mean, like Andrea said, it's regular auditing of everything. But it says your organization may need a forensic audit examination if there's suspicions of fraud or theft. Turnover has occurred and account balances are not what they should be. Accounts that were thought to be in your name are not really owned by your entity. I mean, this is business, but it's the same thing. None of our regular audits have flagged any of these issues.
Right.
Right. And she,
Although there's a time in the past when we maybe could have used one, but that's long. It's
Long
multiple
gone.
years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so it says a fraud or what for a forensic?
There's a difference between a forensic audit and a regular audit. That's what Andrea just said, okay? And if you have suspicions of fraud or theft,
Oh, that's it, theft.
it's like, are you kidding me? You know, name what you're suspicious of. If you're going to accuse somebody of something, accuse them. Do
Well,
a formal,
that's what I'm getting at. I mean, you know, if you're going to accuse somebody, I mean, just to say you're going to have a forensic audit, it puts a bad light on everybody.
well, it puts a bad light on everybody. It puts a bad light on our accountant. I
Right.
mean, why would she want to even come back and help us if
Exactly.
taking into question her professional abilities?
Right, right.
I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't think that that's kosher. You're going to accuse somebody of something. Number one, you better have some evidence, and no evidence has come up in the audit.
No, and that's where it doesn't. That's why they audit the departments. Because if somebody had stolen or done something with the funds they shouldn't have, it would have started with them. The accountant and the treasurer only have the information that they're given. You know, if you send them an invoice and say, we paid this to such and such a company, but you really put it in your pocket, they would go from the information they had. They have no way to know that you only put it in your pocket. The people who find that are when they audit the individual departments, and they don't add up there. You know, they have no business with that contractor or whatever.
Right, so there's no evidence of that anywhere.
No, none at all.
And she was
I
told,
don't see the justification for going forward with spending town money because somebody has a conspiracy theory going. I'm sorry, that's, you know?
yeah, well, hold on. She was also told that it has to be specific to something. And of course, she had to have the dollar amount. So that's why Tuesday she came back with it.
Did she have a dollar amount?
Yeah,
She had $2 amounts. She didn't have one specific
She better-
one. She would. I assumed she was going to pick one for them and put it in the motion, because you can't have a range of money.
right.
No.
You have to have a sum.
Right. And then because the article was written the way it was, then it's got to come up with another motion to change what's in there on the floor. And so that's where the discussion will come from.
She's got to say an exact amount of money in her motion.
Right.
Right. That's fine. So she comes up with, say, $35,000. What if it's more than that?
Exactly.
I mean,
guess we
normally,
do $35,000 worth of an audit, which is. I looked up online too. Forensic auditors are some of the highest priced auditors you can get. There aren't very many of them.
that's right.
And
It'll have to go out to bid because it's more than $10,000.
right. And you're playing with the big guys here, you know.
And no evidence of anything in any of our yearly audits
No.
to point the need for it.
In fact, yearly our audits have become better and better.
Yep.
Yep. So we're just going to have to wait until The
But
annual-
Andrea, in terms of what you need to write for this,
Yes.
it sounds like, you know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you're saying what I'm saying, and that's the yearly audits have not shown any need for this. Any red flags no red flags have gone up, especially over the last 2 years.
In the annual audit, which is a different kind of audit than this one, costs us, I think, 28.5 or something, almost $30,000 a year.
A forensics going to cost you more than that.
Way more than that.
Yeah,
You know, and the thing is, you wonder how much that grant was for. Was it 15 grand or, you know, who knows what it was for? I mean,
She's changed her story since she left our off.
minor details.
Yeah, she's changed the story completely since then. Still the forensics, but everything else is different. Who's to say what we write has anything to do with what she's going to come up with by the time we get it to
Mhm.
meeting?
In that person's defense, though, this is the first time she's ever done anything like this. So you have to expect a certain amount of naiveness in her requests or understanding. She came to the finance committee to fund it from the reserve fund because she didn't understand the use
Right.
of the reserve fund. So, you know, her naivete is going against her in her presentation to us for a clear explanation.
mm,
Well, it sounds like you have two issues. One, you don't think it's necessary, and two, the question of the amount of money compared to the cost of a regular audit, which you're already doing.
Well, one thing is that she wants it taken from the stabilization fund, which causes a three-quarters vote. She may not get, you know, even if she gets support for it, she may not get the proper amount of people to support it. It's hard to get money out of the stabilization fund.
Mm-hmm. Should be.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I think we're just gonna have to go with some type of wording. And then when it comes to town meeting floor, we have to get up and maybe explain it to her or her explain it to us and, you know, maybe fly by the seat of our pants when we get there. I don't know.
Okay, well, but we have to do something. And Don, as you can see, has been working away on this for us.
I've been trying to capture some of the words that that
right.
have been thrown about. It's kind of like it was just captured and put here. We can wordsmith it and we can wipe it out or wordsmith what's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Anybody know when Cinderella gets here?
Have been used properly. Well, did everybody read this? Because I mean, that sounds right. Plus the fact that an exact amount was
Mhm.
not stated.
I mean, we could also put in here at the time of review, there was no details about what in the article as presented, when we reviewed it, had no details about what accounts or grants or pricing. In without those details, we cannot recommend.
It's true, even though she has talked about it, nothing is in writing.
Right.
You have nothing to hold on to say this is what's going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I want something in there about, you know, no source, no money.
No tiki, no laundry.
Yep, no tiki, no laundry.
Mhm.
And no details. The scope.
Yeah, if I can spell. I'm gonna misspell it.
Spell check.
Yeah. Automatic replacement, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You should have the word audit after forensic.
Okay, yeah.
The scope of the forensic audit has been defined.
Hmm.
Yep.
You could say
Okay.
without those parameters, we have nothing to form an opinion on. Oh, no, you can't end a sentence with a preposition.
Um,
Kids today wouldn't know what you're talking about, Andrea.
Oh, yes, but Mrs. Miller from my school days would come as a ghost and beat my head in this evening.
yeah, without the perimeter, there is no action to take.
What's that article number, please?
26.
It's the
Pardon me?
very last, it's the very last article on annual town meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, sorry, just getting a little,
Yeah.
Um, Down here, it's when you said annual audits are performed on the town accounts
yeah,
and has not shown issues. They have not shown issues or something like that. You
Yep.
want it, so it sounds like those
Yeah.
audits have
yeah,
not
I
shown.
got,
Okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you.
and I don't know if I'm accurate on
I
the,
think you are.
okay,
Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me.
Because, if I had a grant and I misuse it,
hmm,
they're not going to give me a grant again.
exactly, yeah. So you gotta report back and have that accountability.
Right.
Well,
No,
don't, when you get a grant, they check up on you is what you spent the grant for, right?
Yep.
You can't just say, I spent it on this and not have them come and see what you really spent it on. Correct?
Right.
Well, it's just like accounting. I mean, you got to put in there, okay, I got a grant for XYZ to do this. And
Right,
then you have to show where all the money went.
correct.
So. All right, is everybody read number
No.
26?
Yeah, I read it.
Are we happy with it?
I'm happy with it. I like the way it reads.
All right. So that ends all of our articles. Our recommendation sheet. So if you could save that
Mm-hmm.
and
Send us a copy.
Yep.
And I'm just asking you to do this. You can feel free to say no.
No.
Would you send a copy to Jim, and then our business will be completed?
Oh,
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
so we don't need to meet next week.
Right.
Okay.
so we finished.
Hey, Lynn,
Yes.
Lynn, I'm sorry I joined you guys late. I messed up on the time. Could you just tell me how you voted on Article 7, please?
Article 7, we recommended.
Are you expecting a call from Chatham?
It's right there.
Yeah, I don't know if she's in on, are you in on the Zoom and can see the screen?
No, I've just called in.
Okay.
Okay, so Article 7, recommended for
Okay,
2 years. That's the one where we're paying the union employees have been contracted negotiations without a salary raise. This article will provide the funding for a negotiated settlement for 2 years of retroactive pay.
I have to tell you, Sue, that we are going to next year request that a member of finance be in on the negotiation team. Not all of us, but just one of us.
yeah, I have mixed feelings about that, having been on both sides, but, I mean, I can see you wanting that, but, I was just curious as I'm concerned about the bump in salaries and how that's going to affect us in the years to come, in the next 2 years to come.
Mhm.
That's going to put us up against a rock and a hard place. But
That institute really said a lot this year.
Well, with everything we're doing, I mean, if we're talking about that, going in the future, we have the positions that are being added this year, which is adding cost. We have also the school is doing there is assessment to us, but they were able to work certain things with COVID money. I don't know if that's going to be there. We have the 1 month insurance holiday. That money is going to be added back in. The next year of the trash pickup, that is going to increase. So we have all these built-in increases already that could be budget busters as soon as next year.
exactly, and that's my concern. It's like, you know, to me, it's giving away an awful lot in 1 year. You know, when you do a contract over a 3-year period, you could give away one piece of that each year,
Mhm.
so that it doesn't hurt all at once. But and I still have. I mean, I know they voted on the union contracts. I'd love to see. I put in a records request today to see the contracts themselves, because I want to know the other side of the negotiations, what happened. Because it seems like giving away stuff, but I'm not seeing what we're being given in return. So, I mean, I'm noticing that there's still, and you can't tell by the budget what, you know, what they may have negotiated, but, you know, you've still got pay for, as far as I'm concerned, sitting in a chair for X number of years. You know, I don't agree with some of the
Mhm.
the stuff that I'm seeing. So, but when that hits, it's going to be cumulative because you're talking about 2.5% basically on top of having increased things. So
Mhm.
ain't going to be pretty next year or the year after.
No, it's not, and that's a lot of their unions and stuff. Really is.
Yeah. I mean, I heard Jim say it a couple of times in meetings, and I know too. Sometimes you don't settle a contract because one side doesn't like what the other side offered.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel pretty strongly about you don't start complaining to me that you didn't get anything when we offered you something, you didn't take it. So, I'm not pleased about that.
Well, I think that's why finance.
They have a
wants it.
bunch of people working and not have any supplies for them.
Well,
Or you're gonna have to they're gonna have to lose part of their union numbers
Mhm.
because you're not gonna be able, you have to lay them off.
they're not gonna be able to keep up with it.
Nope. It's good in the front end, but not
Well,
so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wondered what you had decided on that, and I can understand you're saying, well, if they sign the contract, but if we don't fund their contract, they're gonna have to go back to the board too, so.
Well,
Okay.
that's what happened for the past 2 years.
Well, they're gonna have to go back anyway, because this agreement covers salaries for 2 years, not benefits and things for 2 years.
You got it. That's right.
And Jim told me that, so, it's sort of closing the box, but leaving it a little bit ajar.
Yep, you gotta look at the total cost of what you're doing.
Right. But it's unavailable, and, I don't know.
So anyway, I'm ready to leave the company of everybody.
Well, we were supposed to leave 10 minutes ago anyway.
Yeah.
Who's
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night. I make a motion to adjourn
I'll
I
second it.
second that.
at 8:11.
All right.
8:11.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night.
ladies and gentlemen.